Hello peeps, thank you so much for coming back. We are in the first part of Ponniyin Selvan, that is the new tide, and we are at the first chapter, the Adi celebrations. We invite you dears to a journey into the endless expanse of time on an imaginary time machine. Let us zoom into the past at the speed of 100 years per second and arrive at a chosen destination about 1,000 years before the present, 968 AD to be precise. Tirumunaipadi is a small fiefdom sandwiched between the mighty kingdoms of Chora and Thondaimandalam. In the southern part of Tirumunaipadi, about 20 miles west of the present-day Chidambaram, is a large water body popularly known as the Veeranarayana Lake. The lake is 10 miles long and about 3 miles wide. Over a period of time, the name Veeranarayana Lake got distorted into Veeranam Lake, by which name it is known today. It was the 18th day of the Tamil month of Adi, roughly corresponds to August 3rd of the English calendar. A young warrior was riding on a horse on the banks of the lake. The young man hailed from the Vana clan, a clan renowned for its valor. His name was Vallavarayan Vandiyathevan. Vallavarayan literally means the ruler of Vallam, a small town near Tanjavur. The horse had been travelling without a break for several hours. It was tired. It could not gallop as much as it did at the beginning of the journey. The warrior did not mind the lazy walk of the animal. His mind was fully absorbed in the majestic beauty of the vast lake. On the 18th day of Adi, celebrated as Adi Perukku, all the rivers in the Chora kingdom would be flowing to their brim. And the lakes that are fed by these rivers would be so full that the water would dash against the banks, creating large ripples that resemble the waves of an ocean. Water came from the river Kolarun, known as the North Kaveri among the religious-minded, to Vadavaru, and from there to this gigantic lake, making it look like a roaring sea. Water gushed out of the lake through 74 floodgates, making the lands in the vicinity extremely fertile. Agricultural activities like plucking, sowing seeds and planting saplings were going on in full swing in the fields as far as one could see. The farmers and the peasant girls were singing happily. Vandiyathevan loved the simple music of the farming folk. He let the horse walk at its own tired pace, relishing the beautiful sight. He wanted to know whether the lake really had 74 floodgates or was it an exaggeration. He started counting them as he was riding on the banks along the length of the lake. After having covered almost the entire distance of the lake, he had counted 70 floodgates. Wow! What a gigantic water body! The lakes created by the Pallava kings in the Thondaimandalam were mere cesspools besides this gigantic structure. Vandiyathevan knew his history lessons well. Water from the Kolarun river was wasted into the sea. The great Chora prince Rajadityan, son of Madurai Konda Parandaga Choran, the one who was a terror to his enemies and the one who conquered Madurai to Pandyas, created this huge reservoir. He must be a genius and a visionary, thought Vandiyathevan. And none could equal Prince Rajadityan's valor. In the battle that was fiercely fought at a place called Takkolam, the prince himself led the army from the front. Single-handedly he met the enemy face to face. And in the course of fighting he bore the enemy's spear on his broad chest and died while still remaining seated on his elephant. And he was glorified as the king who died atop an elephant. Yane Mel Tunjiya Devar. The Chora kings were a class in themselves. They were known as much for their fairness and justice as for their valor. They were second to none in their devotion to the Lord. With these thoughts raging in his mind, Vandiyathevan had reached the southern extreme of the Veeranarayana Lake, and his eyes feasted on the beautiful sight of the river Vadavaru branching off from river Kolarun and merging with the waters of the lake. The lake was silted for a short distance inside the embankment. In the silted area, black bamboo trees and wood apple trees had been thoughtfully planted to prevent the banks being damaged by floods. Reeds had grown densely along the bank. The new floods coming from Vadavaru in the southwest was flowing through the rows of trees to merge with waters of the lake. Viewed from a distance, it looked like a beautiful line drawing made by nature. The Prince of Vallam saw a few more things which added to his happiness. Remember, that day was the 18th day of Adi, celebrated along the banks of Kaveri and its tributaries as Padinettam Perukku. It was people's day out. They were coming in droves in bullock carts covered by ivory color unfurled tender coconut leaves. Men, women, and children were all dressed in new clothes and had decorated their faces and bodies. Bunches of jasmine, chrysanthemum, gardenia, champaka, and irvachi flowers adorned the braids of women. The families carried rich varieties of fancy picnic food. Some of them were standing close to the water, eating delicacies from areca barks, which in those days served as biodegradable, non-polluting eating plates. Some bravely ventured near the banks of Vadavaru river and ate their food while standing in knee-deep water. Okay buddies, let's pause this episode. I need some break. Stay tuned for the next episode. Thanks for listening.